And now, it's the 2K Online Franchise Sports Report with your host Marcus Reed and Ava Turner.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the 2K Online Franchise Radio Network. It's Marcus Reed here. Man, I don't know about you guys, but that new Superman trailer that dropped yesterday has me hyped for next summer already. But okay, enough about superheroes. We've got some football to break down. This is our third team deep dive this week, looking at teams on their bye. And today, we're all about America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. They're sitting pretty at 6 and, undefeated as they head into the bye week. To help me break down just what's going on in Dallas, I've got the one and only Ava Turner with me. Ava, it's got to have Cowboys fans feeling good right now, right?
Oh, absolutely, Marcus. It's a dream start for sure. But I think it's not just the wins. It's how they're winning that's got everyone so excited. I mean, look at their red zone efficiency, 83.9%. That's third in the league. Basically, every time they get inside the 20-yard line, they're coming away with points. And then you look at their turnover differential, +8. They're up there with the league leaders.
Okay, those are some impressive stats, no doubt. But break it down for me. What does that actually tell us about how the Cowboys are playing this season?
Well, that red zone efficiency tells me that they're not settling for field goals. They're punching it into the end zone, which says a lot about Coach Perez's play calling. And of course, Dak and the offense are executing at a high level. As for that +8 turnover differential, well, it's huge, right? Not only are they taking care of the ball themselves, but they're creating turnovers on defense. That's giving their offense extra possessions, making it that much harder for opponents to even stay in the game.
So we're seeing a team that's not just winning, but they're really dominating on both sides of the ball. And of course, all of that has them right where they want to be, sitting at the top of the NFC East.
You got it, leading the division. But, it's still early. It's a long season. The NFC East is always super competitive. So the big question is, can they keep this up? Can they hold off their rivals and keep that lead?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, last year, things weren't quite this good for the Cowboys. So what's changed?
You're right. Last season was a bit of a roller coaster for Cowboys fans, up and down. But this year, there's this different feeling around the team. They're playing with a confidence, a swagger even, that we just haven't seen in Dallas for a while.
All right, so let's dig into some specifics. I've got last year's stats pulled up here. Dak Prescott threw for 26 touchdowns all of last season. But so far this year, through just 6 games, he already has 12. So is this Dak 2.0? What's driving this massive improvement?
There are definitely a few things at play here. I mean, first off, you got to talk about the addition of rookie wide receiver Danny Dansby. He has been huge. The guy's already got 8 touchdowns in 6 games.
8 touchdowns. That's just ridiculous. Remember all the pre-draft hype? The scouting reports were giving him an A+ overall grade. They had him with 91 speed and an A for break tackle ability. It seems like he is absolutely living up to the hype, maybe even exceeding it.
He is electric, Marcus. And it's not just the speed. He's got incredible route running ability, great hands. He's just a nightmare matchup for opposing defenses. But it's not just Dansby, though, right? I think Dak himself is playing with a lot more confidence this season, making better decisions, spreading the ball around, finding the open receiver. He's not forcing throws like maybe we saw a bit last year. And then, Coach Perez seems to have found his groove with the play calling as well.
So it's a combination of things, player development, smart coaching, and of course, you add a game changer like Dansby to the mix, and you've got a recipe for success. But even with this incredible start, even with everything clicking, there's always the injury bug lurking, ready to derail a season. And unfortunately, the Cowboys haven't been immune to that.
Sure.
They've got a couple of pretty key guys on defense dealing with some injuries right now. Damone Clark, their starting right outside linebacker, is out with broken ribs. And Jordan Phillips, their defensive tackle, he's dealing with an abdominal tear.
Yeah, those are 2 big losses for the Cowboys defense. Both of those guys are expected to be out for at least 4 weeks.
And these are key pieces of their run defense. So how do you see these injuries potentially impacting their momentum?
Yeah, they're definitely going to be tough to replace. Especially Clark and Phillips were crucial in stopping the run. So now, some other guys are going to have to step up in their absence.
And speaking of guys stepping up, imagine if Dansby were to go in. Suddenly, that Cowboys defense would become even more crucial to their success.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Pressure would be immense on that defense if they were to lose Dansby.
And now back to Marcus Reed and Ava Turner on the 2K Online Franchise Radio Network.
We have some depth on that defensive line. And Coach Perez, well, he's known for adapting his schemes to fit his personnel.
So while these injuries are obviously a setback, it's not necessarily a doomsday scenario, right? This is an opportunity for some other players to step up and make a name for themselves.
Exactly. It's a chance for some of those backups to prove their worth. And it's a chance for Coach Perez to show just how good of a coach he really is. Can he make the adjustments? Can he scheme around these injuries and keep the Cowboys rolling?
So the question becomes, is this a turning point in the season? Or can they weather the storm and continue this dominant run?
That's the big question. Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, it's going to be an exciting second half of the season in Dallas.
It's true, those injuries are definitely a bit of a concern, but I can't help but be impressed with how dominant this Cowboys team has looked through 6 games. It's not just that they're winning, it's that they're blowing teams out.
Yeah, for sure. Their point differential is a league best plus 84. Think about that. They're averaging almost 14 points more than their opponents every single game.
That's insane. And we've talked about the offense quite a bit, but the Cowboys defense deserves some credit too, right? They're creating turnovers, giving Dak and that offense even more chances to put points on the board.
Absolutely. You can't underestimate how important those turnovers are. I mean, guys like Trayvon Diggs in the secondary, he's got 4 interceptions already. And then you've got Marquise Bell with 3. They're ball hawks back there, and those turnovers are huge momentum swings.
Okay, so we've talked about the injuries, the defense, the overall dominance. But let's go back to the offense for a second. You mentioned earlier how incredible their red zone efficiency is. 83.9%. That's going to be way up from last year, right?
Oh, yeah. Night and day difference, Marcus. Last season, they were ranked 18th in the league in red zone efficiency. They were only converting 68.7% of their trips inside the 20. That means they were settling for field goals a lot more often than not. This year, they're finding the end zone almost every single time.
So what's changed? Is it all Danny Dansby?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there something else going on here?
Yeah.
Well, Dansby's a huge part of it, no question. He's such a threat in the red zone, especially his ability to make those contested catches. It's a game changer. But I think it's more than just him. Dak's making quicker reads, the offensive line's giving him more time to throw, and Coach Perez, he's scheming guys open down there. It's really a total team effort.
I mean, think about it. They've got a strong running game with Aaron Jones averaging over 100 yards a game. Dak Prescott's playing at a high level. And now you add this explosive rookie in Danny Dansby. It's almost unfair. Defenses just don't know what to do.
You're telling me. It's a nightmare for opposing defensive coordinators. So many weapons, and the Cowboys are using them all effectively. Oh, and don't forget about their kicker, Brandon Aubrey. The guy's been perfect on field goals and extra points so far.
That kind of consistency is so crucial, especially in close games. You got to love knowing you can rely on your kicker to get those points when you need them.
Absolutely. And you know what else you gotta love? The consistency Coach Perez brings. He's instilled this winning mentality in the team. They're playing with a discipline and a focus that we haven't seen from the Cowboys in a long time.
And what's even more impressive is how quickly this team has come together.
Yeah.
Especially considering they've got several young players in key roles. I mean, you've got Dansby, who's a rookie. Their starting middle linebacker, Eric Kendricks, he's a rookie too.
You're right. And both of them are playing like seasoned veterans. It really speaks to their talent, their work ethic, and the coaching staff's ability to develop young players.
So to recap, the Cowboys are 6-0. They've got a +8 turnover differential. And they're ranked 3rd in the league in red zone efficiency.
Yeah, and even with those injuries on defense, they're still showing a resilience, a depth that makes them a real contender in the NFC.
They're definitely a team to watch, that's for sure. But before we move on, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about Dak Prescott's improvement. We talked about his touchdowns being way up from last year. But what else stands out to you about his play this season?
Honestly, I think the biggest difference is his decision-making. He's not forcing those throws anymore. He's taking what the defense gives him. He's spreading the ball around. Last year, I felt like he kind of got stuck on his primary target too often, which made him predictable. This year, he's scanning the field, going through his progressions, finding the open man.
And it seems like he's really thriving in Coach Perez's system.
Oh, absolutely. Coach Perez has done a fantastic job of tailoring the offense to Dak's strengths, using a lot of play action, which lets Dak use his mobility to create plays outside the pocket, calling a lot of quick, short passes, which gets the ball out of Dak's hands quickly, limits the risk of sacks.
So we're seeing a more mature, a more confident Dak Prescott.
Exactly. And with all the weapons he's got around him, I think he's only going to get better.
Let's take a quick look at the rest of the NFC East. Where do the Cowboys stand in relation to their division rivals?
Well, as we said, they're sitting at the top with that perfect 6-0 record, but the Philadelphia Eagles are right behind them at 5-1.
Ah, yes, the Eagles. Seems like they're always right there in the mix.
They are, and they're playing some really good football right now. Their offense is explosive. Their defense is solid.
So are we looking at a potential showdown for the division title later in the season?
I think it's definitely shaping up that way. Those two matchups between the Cowboys and the Eagles, those could be epic.
Definitely some must-watch TV there. But what about the rest of the division? You've got the Commanders and the Giants.
Right. Washington's currently sitting in third place at 3-3. They're a tough team. They're physical, but they've struggled with consistency this season.
And then the Giants.
They're bringing up the rear at 1-5. They're a young team, still rebuilding.
So it looks like it really is that two-horse race between the Cowboys and the Eagles for that NFC East crown.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. It's going to be a battle to the finish between those two teams.
All right, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive into the Dallas Cowboys, there's one word that keeps coming to mind: potential. This team has the potential to be truly special. They've got all the pieces in place, the talent, the coaching, the winning mentality. But, potential only gets you so far.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it all comes down to execution. Can they stay healthy? Can they avoid those costly mistakes? Can they maintain this intensity for the rest of the season? Those are the questions that will determine their fate.
So, Ava, what do you think? What's the key for this Cowboys team to go all the way?
For me, it comes down to leadership. Dak Prescott needs to keep playing at this high level. He needs to be that calming presence, especially for all the young guys on this team. And Coach Perez, he needs to keep everyone focused, keep everyone hungry. If they can do that, I wouldn't be surprised to see them playing deep into January, maybe even February.
You're right about that. Leadership is huge, especially when you're dealing with adversity like those injuries.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we talked about the potential impact of losing Clark and Phillips on that defense. But how concerned should Cowboys fans really be? Do they have the depth to weather this storm?
Well, it's definitely a valid concern, Marcus. I mean, Clark and Phillips were starters for a reason, right? Their absence is going to be felt.
Especially against the run, it seems like that's where they were most valuable.
Exactly. They are both key pieces in stopping the run. So, yeah, other guys are going to have to step up in their absence. The good news is they do have some experienced players on the bench who can fill in.
Right, like Dante Fowler Jr. He's been a solid rotational player for them.
Exactly. Fowler's a veteran. He knows the system, and he can be really disruptive when he's on his game. And then they've also got some young guys who'll be eager to prove themselves, get some playing time.
So it's not all doom and gloom, right? It's a chance for some of these other guys to step up, maybe even make a name for themselves.
You got it. That's the way I see it. This is an opportunity not just for the players, but for Coach Perez, too. Can he show his coaching acumen? Can he adjust his schemes and game plans to make up for those losses? This will be a real test for him.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive on the Dallas Cowboys, I want to leave our listeners with this question. Can the Cowboys keep this up? Can they maintain this momentum and secure a playoff spot?
I mean, they're definitely on the right track. That 6-0 start, it's a huge statement. And they've shown they can win in a lot of different ways. Blowouts, close games, defensive battles, offensive shootouts. They can do it all. And I think that's what makes them so dangerous.
They're a complete team.
Absolutely.
But it is a long season, and there will be challenges ahead.
Fun, for sure. No doubt about it. The NFC is loaded with talent this year. And if the Cowboys want to go all the way, they're going to have to stay focused, keep that foot on the gas.
But based on what we've seen through 6 games, I don't think anyone should be betting against them.
I wouldn't.
All right, Ava, thanks so much for breaking this all down for us. Cowboys fans, enjoy the bye week and get ready for what should be a very exciting second half of the season. And for all you 2K online franchise fans out there, make sure you check out the 2KOLF website for all the latest news, stats, and in-depth analysis. We'll be back next week with another team deep dive, so stay tuned.
This has been a presentation of the 2K Online Radio Network. For more information, visit our website at 2KOLF.com.